Welcome to the Card Hunter. I'm Ziggy No, and I'll be your host on this channel. What is the purpose of this channel? What are the rules, and why should you subscribe? And most importantly, what's coming in the near future? Well, the purpose of this video was I want to document my process for purchasing sports card breaks and how I use that to sustain my hobby enjoyment. My goal is to show and demonstrate a system that I've been using. I'm not, let me say this too, I'm not recommending other people do what I'm going to be doing in this video. First of all, I think you have to have experience, knowledge, a level of risk. And I think most importantly, I don't know if I want you competing with what I'm doing. I look at this as like a sport. I'm out hunting prestigious sports cards in the modern products that are coming out, modern rookie classes. That's what excites me. That's what I chase. That's what I think makes the hobby what it is today. I think of it kind of like waves. I see a bunch of sets coming, right? I'm on my surfboard. I can see Donruss football. I see Prism football. I see Topps Chrome Update. I see Bowman Draft. I see these waves of products coming. And each wave, I look at it, I analyze it, and I have a plan of attack. I'm going to go over my rules for this channel, right? One of the primary rules is that all the card hunting that you will see on this channel will be done in breaks and or personal boxes that I would be buying direct or as direct as I can from the manufacturer. Okay? This is not going to be me buying singles. This is not going to be me making trades with people. It's not going to be me going to shows. It's just going to be focused on me using breaks as the primary way to get these cards. And that's the primary rule, right? Card hunt, but use breaks to do the hunting. Why subscribe? Well, by subscribing to this channel, you get to enjoy my journey. You get to listen to me complain, bitch, prepare, give post-op, talk about my process. I encourage engagement. I'll probably do a live or two as we get into this. I will tell you, one of the things about, as I record this, a lot of what I'll record will be right after the breaks, but I will not share that with the audience immediately. I will probably wait a few weeks for that stuff to cool off. And there's a couple of reasons for that, as I'll explain as we go throughout the channel in the future. What is coming? I can tell you what I've already been involved in. I will tell you, I'm going to do a deep dive in Prism basketball because I did a summer breaking series where was involved in a lot of breaks, and I learned a lot from that series. So I'm probably going to do a separate breakdown of what I learned from that, what I refer to as a card hunting safari, what I went chasing, Prism Monopoly cards, and what my goal was and what the outcome was and the system I built around that. I will say that as we move into 2024, I will be using, my goal is to not put in new money, right? To use money from 2023's breaks, the cards from those breaks, the trophies from those safaris to fund future safaris. I will use the term safari because I kind of think of sports cards like a safari. Again, like I'm going out looking for tigers. That's probably a poor example. I think tigers are endangered species, but I'm going out looking for bears. And you might get a little bear, you might get a big bear, you might get the biggest bear in the whole wide world, set the bear record, or you might get nothing. You might get attacked by the bear. So let me go over a few things. I'm going to talk about the process that I've put in place. Now, I'll be honest, this is my process. Part of the reason I'm documenting this is to keep myself accountable to the process that I'm defining. One of the biggest challenges in sports card breaking is impulse and emotion. Your impulses get the best of you, your emotions get the best of you. If you keep a plan, keep it on your forehead. And again, the other piece that comes in this is a lot of times you'll get a big hit and you'll be like, well, that card's gonna get me $500, so I can spend $500 now. It's a cash flow management control issue, right? That's why you're gonna see, we're gonna go on safaris in 2024, and then there's gonna be breaks where we're not gonna have any safaris lined up for a while. We'll talk about what's going on, what kind of strategies are being used, what else I'm seeing in the community. I will talk a lot about the breakers as well, but I'm not going to talk about them on the general topics. I'll do post-ops and with the breakers where I'll be happy to answer questions about breakers. A couple of things. I don't want to promote or distract from breakers. I appreciate what they do. There's certain ones I really like. At the same time, if I tell you who they are, I'm competing with you in these breaks, these strategies. You'll start to see what I'm doing and what I'm going up against. But we'll be talking about sports card strategy. I will be involved in eBay breaks. I did a whole bunch of eBay breaks where I'm buying kind of randomly from breakers I don't know. We'll go over the trust and what's involved in that. And then I'll target some of the bigger breakers. I will say, primary goal when I get into breaks is to get the best value Okay, so I will also go over in a later video the tools that I use in evaluating that. So for example, I use WaxStat to check what the case prices are of products. So when a case comes out, let's say it comes out at $2,000 and the brakes get listed, I do PYT brakes. If the PYT brakes are listing up to $4,000, there's too much margin in that. He's making $2,000 of just flipping the box. Not good for me. So I'll mention Box Brakes. I think it's Box Brakes, right? Box Comps. Another great website, and I'll do a deeper dive on this one, who basically have done this for me. They've already told me what the best brakes are and some of the best PYT prices are, right? So again, my goal, I'll be driven by availability and price will help me decide which brakes I'm going after. So let me talk about, I guess, the four steps to a good brake. Kind of similar to what I'd say a good Safari might be. Some research, some planning. What are you getting into? Where are you going? What's the environment? What's the community, right? For example, if you're going to be getting the brakes, and most of those brakes are going to be on eBay, you better not, you better be prepared for building some relationships, is what I'd say, right? If you don't know the breaker and you want to make sure that you build a good rapport and trust with them, that takes some help. A perfect example of this, I go on eBay brakes because I can't find the PYT brakes I want to get into. So it forces me the availability and or the price to go on eBay brakes. eBay brakes are not necessarily the best price. Normally the best value I find are in PYT brakes of known breakers that I know who are constantly getting product. Now what happens is on release weeks, they normally have priced competitively against others and they've got a price they're going to use for their margin. They're going to move their product. Weeks later, like if you're breaking Topps Chrome, it's hard to find consistent Topps Chrome brakes right now, months after the product has been released. But on release week, it's easier to find those PYT brakes and fill them and get those spots. So over time, prices go down. Depends on the product too. Deeper products like a Bowman or a Topps Chrome will have a longer brake process, brake cycle, right? They'll be braking for several weeks, where other products just come for a week and are gone. I'm going to be focusing on the better products, and you'll learn that. That goes in kind of the research phase. So research is number one. Number two is the hunt. Once you have the research done and you know what you're getting into, you have to plan the hunt. I'll give you a quick example of that. It is December, and I'm going to be doing a safari on Prizm Football. I've decided of all the products in football, this is the one with all the uncertainty, with the licensing and what's going on with Panini and Topps. And I am also hoping that there's going to be an NFL Chrome coming out later in the spring. But anyway, I'm going to focus on Prizm Football. In the research I've done, I believe that there are 5 teams that have good quarterback prospects for the future. I also believe that I can get those cards, grade them. I'm not in a rush to sell these cards, right? So I'm going to get them, hopefully get them in January, February, send them off to grading, have them back by April. So they're back by draft time. They're back for the summer rush. Okay, I'm not going to go into all the 5 teams, but I've researched out the product, researched out the teams. Now my hunt's prepared. I got to find out which breakers are going to have Prizm NFL. Some of them will have allocation. They have allocation. They're going to have better prices. I've already started doing that. Started kind of reaching out and building that network. I also have to decide what my budget's going to be for this safari. How much am I spending on this budget? Now, I'll give you a quick example. I normally look at how much a box or boxes would cost me. If I was going to do 2 boxes, I say, well, if I bought 2 boxes, I have this much, but I could take 2 boxes in value and break it over how many cases. So real quickly, and this is just an example for this introduction video. Let's look at Prizm Football. It's about, I think, $900 a box right now, pre-sale. So if I want to do 2 boxes, it's an $1,800 budget I have to put into cases of product and teams. It's just a round number. You can go smaller, you can go less, but what I would say is that I don't like putting all my eggs in one break. And if that break doesn't go right, then my system has a glitch or it hurts the system more. So if I have a smaller budget, I'm going to break it over maybe boxes, right? Not cases. Okay, just keep that in mind. Once I have decided what the hunt is, I start locking in on the hunt, right? I start looking at the checklist. I start confirming which team. So for example, there's 5 teams I'm going after. Once a checklist comes out, that research and the hunt, I will know which of those 5 teams are more of a bigger focus for me. Texans are going to be extremely expensive, right? We know that right now. But what other hits are in the Texans? What else can save your butt in the Texans if you decided to buy off the Texans? I will likely fade the Texans and go with 1 or 2 other teams in a couple cases if I can. That is my ideal goal. After that, and we'll share this in the video, we'll refer to as the clean and sort phase, right? Once the brakes come back, this is also exciting. This is one thing I love about brakes. You have the buying of the brake, researching the brake, brake night, watching the brake, hits of the brake, woohoo! You get a buzz rush. This card's gonna be awesome. Then you get the cards back, and it's the cleaning. This is when you cut the guts, and it opens up, and it's got cancer, and you realize, oh, you can't. This meat is foul or whatever. The corners are screwed up. This is a PSA 8, not a PSA 10. That happens in braking. You're gonna get cards back that aren't gonna be all trophyable, right? Trophyable, is that a word? So we're going to talk about that. We're going to go through the process of getting those cards back. What do we do with them? I will grade almost all autographs, okay? Most low short print refractors or cards I will also grade as well, and I'm taking them in my process. I do not like to skin and sell the meat raw right there, okay? I might set them aside, right? People will put their base rookies away, their chrome refractor rookies away. I can see that. Some of them I will send off to ComC. Sometimes, if it's a card that I don't feel like grading, or I don't have the time for, let's say it's a low, like I got a number to 5 All-Star and a Topps Chrome box. I don't feel like grading it. I don't know if I'll ComC. I might send that to DC87 and sell it raw on their platform. Let me say this too. I sell a lot of my PSA slabs, which is what I'm going to grade with. I sell those on DC87 sports cards. Why? I like their system. I really appreciate SCV, who talked about you shouldn't be using, what are those things called? Resellers, consigners. My time, I'm going to argue, is worth using the consigner at this point. It also keeps my system going, keeps me accountable. I can see what it is. So for right now, as I walk into 2024, I'm very aware of 2 things that I would say SCV brought to my attention, and that's I use consigners and I also use subbers. So when I go through my process of cleaning, when I have decided which cards, now I believe from every break there should be 1 card, ideally, that you will grade. Not always the case. That is not always, you can be skunked, you can have bad breaks, right? That's going to happen. We're going to show that. But I believe 1. Or you should have 1 or 2 from a Safari, right? So let's say you have if I'm going to go into a product, I'm going to commit to 3 cases. If case 1's bad, I'm going to still stick with my foot and go with case 2 and case 3. I'll say this though, sometimes if case 1 is great, I might fade case 2 and case 3 and allocate that money somewhere else, okay? But when I'm going on a hunt, I'm going out to hunt. I want to go get a blank, okay? So that's part of my Safari process. I'll go over this more with some practical examples as we go into more of the tactical phase of this. The last phase is that selling process, and I was kind of getting a little ahead of myself here, but my selling process is once my cards are graded, so the sorting, right? Send cards to PSA. Ideally, I'm sending cards to PSA every month. I normally use my subber, so I'll send my subber bulks of about 50 to 100 cards a time. He will preview them for me, and he will sprinkle them into submissions over the next few months. So it's not an exact science where I'm sending him 5 every month and he submits 5 every month for me, but I'm sending him, say, 30 or 40 or 50 every few months, and every month he's sprinkling a few in. So I have a system right now where I'm getting cards back as I'm putting cards in. And some of my future Safari trophy videos that I will show off some of the trophies. That's the whole thing is we go out, we hunt the damn card, we roll fall down. We research it, we hunt it, we clean it, and we trophy it. That's the process. When the trophies come back, my PSA cards come back, I will show those off. And we will be getting PSA trophies back from last year's hunts. And this is a critical thing I want to point out in this introduction video if you've made it as far as that. My process here is not about go out, get in a break, get the card, sell it, flip it, grade it fast, be the first to action, and make money and move on. Now, I'm building a system, a Safari system, where I go out on Safari sports card hunting. I enjoy it. My system is created so that it funds itself after a time. Now, I'll be honest, I put money into this thing to get it rolling, okay? I have taken money out of it, and I look at it as a business, right, because of that. But right now, going into 2024, at the time of this video is made, we're in December, I'm hoping that this system will show itself sufficiently funding itself moving forward, right? And it will provide me the ability to get big hits, have fun, grade, enjoy the hobby, PC some cards. We'll talk about that. Certain cards that, hey, I hit this in a break, I really liked it, so I'm going to put this in my PC. Or I gave this away to somebody I know who's a big fan of this, right? All the cool things that come from card hunting, Safari style in breaks. We will also go over some strategy of breaks, buying breaks, pricing breaks, negotiating breaks. We got so much more to talk about. Guys, I hope you'll like this video. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, because this content's going to be sporadic, but it's going to be coming out. I think after we get into it for a while, probably into January, we'll start maybe a weekly podcast, maybe a live Q&A, something like that. But again, really appreciate your thoughts.